Hello, I'm Richard, and in this video, I'll be taking a look at what peril datasets are available through the Living Atlas and also our premium content services. First off, what do I mean by perils data? Perils data effectively covers natural catastrophes, so things like hurricanes, cyclones, wildfires, volcanoes, earthquakes, subsidence, and flooding. But when appropriate, we can also include data such as piracy or crime rates to help assess a location's overall level of risk. A good overview for the sorts of global perils datasets that are available can be seen via Esri's Disaster Response Programme website and through their public information maps. However, a few are US-centric. The apps contain live feeds of, for example, US severe weather, along with individual flooding and wildfires. They also detail global hurricanes and cyclones, historic volcanic activity, and recent earthquakes. If you'd like more information on any of the datasets used in those apps, then they are easily accessible directly from Esri's Living Atlas, or please contact the content team. Now, I appreciate hurricanes and volcanoes tend not to be that big a risk in the UK, but although our earthquakes may not make the news very often, they do occur. And if you're interested in their distribution, then the Living Atlas has the British Geological Survey's Earthquake Time Series feed available. Here, the data has been displayed in a heat map to help visualize their distribution. However, as earthquakes aren't deemed a major risk for the UK due to their low magnitudes, for my demonstration, I'll take a look at more specific UK perils data that can be used to help assess locational risk using ArcGIS Pro and focusing on the Cumbrian town of Keswick in the northwest of England. To start off, I've chosen an imagery base map to which I've loaded some asset data for my Keswick area of interest in the form of property points from the address-based dataset. This dataset also contains the unique property reference number, the UPRN, which can be easily searched and related to other datasets. I've also pulled in the Ordnance Survey's master map buildings. This helps visualize a structure's actual footprint. This data layer can also be used to create a basic 3D model from its associated height attributes. Now, let's look at some potentially useful perils data. Firstly, I've selected title info. Though not strictly a perils dataset, it does contain flood risk extents, as can be seen, defining very low to high risk areas. But its main benefit is to enable commercial ownership and land registry title and UPRN details to be easily obtained. For more refined granular flood risk, we'll want to look at the JBA flood data. As mentioned, the JBA flood maps are really the go-to datasets for flooding, as you can access flood peril data over multiple return periods of 20, 75, 100, 200, and 1,000 years, with depth information available to a 5-meter resolution within the UK, Europe, and the US. This data is also available for the rest of the world at a resolution of 30 meters or better. JBA also calculate a flood risk score for the UK, which can be UPRN matched. Because of this, it is typically the most important and commercially used perils data for insurers, as it can be used to support all aspects of property underwriting, risk assessment, and claims validation. JBA also provide a live forecasting model called Flood Foresight, which gives a rolling 10-day forecast of potential flooding during a major storm event. This example shows the historic forecasting on day 1 of Storm Desmond, which hit the UK in 2015 and which severely impacted Cumbria. I've then used this forecasting to combine the predicted flooding extents for the next 10 days to help highlight properties at potential risk from the storm surge. Next, we have the British Geological Survey's Geosure dataset. This can be used to help identify ground instability and other geological hazards. This is specifically for low-rise buildings and those with shallow foundations of less than 2 meters in depth, and is available for across Great Britain at postcode unit level. Geosure consists of 6 data layers: shrink swell, landslide, soluble rocks, compressible ground, collapsible deposits, and running sand. A combined hazard rating at postcode level is also available, which is derived from all 6 inputs, giving an overall hazard classification of low to high, which is comparable across postcodes and is useful score to base overall risk on. On top of the BGS, we also have soil subsidence data from Cranfield University. This is a dataset that covers Great Britain at postcode unit level and looks at a number of factors to predict soil liability, which include clay, sand, silt, peat, soft soils, flooding, wind exposure. There is also an equivalent dataset for geological subsidence. Moving on from soils, we can then visualize the potential impact of trees on locations through Blue Sky International's National Tree Map data. Again, this covers Great Britain. The National Tree Map data includes canopies, points, and crowns. The canopy data contains height and perimeter information, so you can get the full picture of the footprint of each tree. This can then be used to assess its potential impact on buildings. For example here, the building's footprint, which are within 5 meters of a tree, have been easily identified. Okay, so we have all this data, but now what? Well, that's really up to you. As within the ArcGIS system, the world of spatial analysis is at your feet. So you can carry out your own bespoke joins, calculations, weightings, and analysis using the inbuilt tools, or simply highlight some of the predefined scores calculated by our data partners to help in your decision making. Here, for example, I've simply color-coded the properties based on their overall flood risk score, and then in the pop-up highlighted some of the attribute data, such as the property address, flooding, and subsidence scores, along with identifying any trees via their unique National Tree Map ID that are within 5 meters of the building's footprint. You can also publish the maps and layers online, or simply export the relevant data in a tabular format to be used in other software packages. Whatever you choose to do, Esri UK is here to help. I hope you found this whistle-stop tour of some potential Perils datasets useful, but should you have any questions, either about the data highlighted or any other content requirements, then please get in touch. Thanks for watching.